Wasn't for me anyway. So I'm still trying to get some of the red got most of it out of there. I think if I just take a piece of paper and fold it in half. I don't have any paper towel out here, otherwise I'd use a paper towel. I think I could get it out of there with a paper towel. I think it looks pretty good there. The more I look at it, the more I... Here, taking folds of paper up here. Get in there to try to... That works pretty good. That works pretty good. Just fold the paper up and shove it around and up and down. All right, so there it is, spark plug done. I'll check it on the system here. I got a bunch of them laying here. I didn't want to cut that dual board in half that I had laying here, so I have some singles. This was like one of my first prototype ones that I made, and then I unsoldered it. This is a single board, and I shrunk it down and made a dual board. So, and I think this was actually my very first one. And if it works, I'll use it. If not, here's another one here that I can put components on that I can use. And back when I was using auto coil without resistors, bringing the resistance to where I needed it, I had to use a heat sink on that chip. I no longer have to do that. I no longer need a heat sink on this chip in here. It with resistors on the auto coil, it's fine. Plus, if I use one that I wound myself, it's fine because the resistance is correct. So you've got to make sure that you have enough resistance. And I can't remember what it was. Around 3, I think. 3 ohms. Anything less than that, you're going to burn up that chip or get hot. And if you run a motor extended amount of time, you're going to burn up that chip or the 555 chip. But as long as you keep your resistance in the ballpark, and it'll be fine. So with those coils that I wound, I think they're around 3. So anyway, I'm going to sit here and pick out one, and then start wiring the first motor, and get it all wired up. And it's about ready to gas tank. I'm still thinking about making a copper tank, and I grabbed some copper and kind of whittled it out to make little stands for it to solder on. And I don't know if I want to do that or not, because I'd trim it down to the main tank if I soldered those on. I'd either solder them that way or turn them around and solder them in this way. but then I need to make a filler tube yet. But I'm thinking using a larger pipe and a larger tube. But I'll be playing around with that because this here tube is about the same as that tube. It's not. This isn't a very big tank. So I might make one out of inch or inch and a half tubing if I can find some. I could make it out of PVC pipe too. Make a white tank in it. Well, I could paint it. I could paint it whatever color I want. I don't know. I'll think about it, and I'm gonna work on ignition board because I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to use that dual one board that I have put together. That's for a twin cylinder engine, which I plan on building another twin cylinder engine here in the near future. After this engine, I am definitely going to make a couple steam engines first, though, because there's a couple of them that I want to build, that I have drawings for that I'd like to build. So so you'll probably be seeing me getting into the steam mode instead of the gas mode. Plus, I need to finish up on putting my mini hog back together too. That's sitting over there waiting for me too. So got lots of work to do. Just never enough time. It just seems like there's never enough hours in the day. It seems like I just get started and it's supper time. So matter of fact, it seems like I just got started and it's already 1 o'clock already in the afternoon. I mean, holy cow. The days didn't fly by like this when I was at work, out at work. What's going on? I know. What's going on is if you enjoy what you're doing, time goes fast. Because when I did enjoy my job out there, when I was out in the shop and I really loved it out, days just flew by out there. Yeah. So the more you like your job, the faster time goes. Even more so when you're retired. Yeah. I can't believe that it's already going to be 2 years that I've retired. It just seems like last week. I better stop gabbing and do something, or otherwise I'm not going to get anything done today. So once I start wiring it, I'll come back and give you some video of the wirings, how I'm wiring it up with that spark saver on there. I'm a little disappointed with that spark saver because I was hoping that it would stop the spark from the intake stroke. That way it would be only firing half the time, but it will take care of the spark while it's in the coast mode when governor kicks in and hopefully kicks in and coasts, so it won't fire there. I think I could maybe fix that so that it would get rid of the intake, but I'm not going to play around with that right now. And that would be to put a window out in front of the sensor so that the dwell would be a lot shorter, because the dwell is too long. That's what's happening. The dwell is too long, so the spark saver is already done and the dwell is still hanging on with the main Hall effect sensor, and so it fires. It fires late, but it nevertheless it fires. So anyway, I'm like kind of disappointed in that, but the rest of it went pretty good. The motor, like I say, the motor's basically done except for gas tank, and the spark plugs now are done. Wiring it and the gas tank, and can't think of anything else. offhand anyway. So later. Okay, I just magic markered up a little schematic here. I colored the wires so it's straightforward, so I can solder them all together. And so let's get started here. The first one I'm going to solder together is the 2 and the 3, which goes from the number 2 on ignition, and it goes to number 3 on a spark saver. And I already have them twisted together right here. They do not go anywhere but to themselves right here. So that's an easy one just to solder together. And then I'll slip a piece of heat shrink over it. So I don't know if the soldering iron is hot enough yet. Flux out here. We'll see if we can get some solder on that, on those 2 wires. There we go. So those 2 are soldered together. Now we're going to get our board over here. I did find a single board that worked, an old one that I used and then went to something else, or I don't know why I switched from it, but I went ahead, colored those right here. So the next one we'll do is number 1, which is the number 1 on the ignition, and also the number 1 on the spark saver, which I have them twisted together also right here in color coded red. So just gotta get them the ends twisted together here a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna get the heat shrink and slide the heat shrink on now before I solder that one. Okay. Heat shrink's a lot easier than electrical tape, or, well, the electrical liquid tape is pretty easy and pretty nice. I like that stuff too. So we need a small one for that. I don't know if the black one might be a little too small. Yep, a little too small, so we'll have to go with this red one. Yeah, that'll work. And then plus, we don't need this full length on this, so we'll cut it in half. There we go. And that goes, and then number 1 goes on the number 1 right here, red. So we'll slide that all the way over it and out of the way so it doesn't get shrunk up ahead of time. And let's see, we'll grab it with the hands here, my little helping hands, maybe, if I can get close enough. These 2 right here. It's too tight. Tighten that up. There we go. I like to have them loose to where I can move them. The 2 red ones that I colored red. And we'll put them together here. together. And this time I want to put a little flux on those wires. Oh shoot! What did I drop? A little drill. I'm just taking a little screwdriver here. Put a little flux on that. Whew. Need to have an exhaust fan when I'm doing this. There we go. It takes care of that one. The next one we'll do will be number 2, which goes to the spark saver only, which is the black one. So that is this one over here. Slide this piece of heat shrink down on this. And take that one out. Put this one in. Take that one out. And the black one, which is this one. There we go. Put them together. And again, I'm just gonna dab on a little flux. That's more than a little, but it'll work. The only thing I don't like about this soldering iron, it gets too hot if I let it just sit too long. Oops, that's a little bit big of a blob. There we go. All right, and the last one is the blue one, which is off the ignition Hall effect to number 3, which is right here. And get another piece of red heat shrink. You wouldn't have to cut them in half. It's just that I get twice as many out of it, and because I don't make my solder joints. Why that wide did I need to have them that long? And they're not out in the elements, so I mean, if they were outside and you wanted to keep water out of them, I can see you doing it then that long, but for me to do it that long in here now. All right, I'll put that in here. Take that out. Put the blue one in there. Line them up. Put a little dab of. Need to buy some new stuff. It's getting pretty burnt. If they fell apart or they're there. All right, that's it for the soldering. I should go get my heat gun. I do have a heat gun, but it's in the cabinet over there. But I'm just going to use my little torch. I need another piece of red to slide over this one that just goes nowhere but to itself. And I'll just use my little. They had these lighters at Menards for, I think it was $1, and the rebate was for $1, so it was for free. So I got, and they're handy little butane torches. So I bought like 4 or 5 of them. They're handy little torches. Alright, and then we'll slide this one up and get it over the joint. It's about halfway. Ow, it's hot on my finger. Slide this one over the joint. And then the last one here. Slide that over. I should have put a big one around them to hold them all together. I got it down here, but that's okay. They'll go in the box, so they'll be all right. And the wires go into a little box under here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but and I'm going to put a little label on there like hot box or something, and spark plug wire comes out of it, and they go down into the box underneath and come out here. This will be put in underneath though, but I want to do a little test to make sure that I got everything the way it needs to be. So we'll just take and slide that over there. I'm not going to hook it to a coil. I see I lost my LED light. Okay, I had wires labeled wrong here. The board was getting power, and so I've got it hooked up, got a coil hooked on it, got this plug laying down here. You can't see it right here. Still can't see it. Where am I at here? Right there. Right there's the plug. See it or not? Turn the light out. And then I'll turn the flywheel. And what am I doing wrong here now? There we go. Get that wrench away. Maybe that's what. So now I got to button up everything. So here's the LED light. Plus, I don't have a head gasket in this one yet. I got to get a head gasket made. And then push rod adjusted, and then spark saver adjusted back there, because now if I move the spark saver, the bracket is loose, so I'll just move it back so that it's not making contact with that one. Now you see no spark. Move it back forward all the way. Yeah, if I can get down here. And we got spark again. So, got it laying in the box, just laying in the box temporary here. I'm putting together a battery pack here to run it. And I don't know if I'm going to use, I might use 3 instead of 2. I think 2 will last quite a while. I put a load on it and and just to see how long it would take, and to run it down, and it took quite a while. So, and I was drawing. I can't remember how many amps I was drawing, but it took quite some time. I have plenty more that I could use, and these are out of a, like I said, these are out of a rechargeable drill battery pack. And like I say, one matter of fact, I think there's out a couple of them. There's one usually that's bad, the rest are good. So I make use of them. And what I'm going to do on the box is I'm going to put a control plate here with a switch and indicator light and a charging port, so that I can take a USB charger and plug it in there. I'm just sitting here debating on which switch to use. You know, this one here has a light in it, so I wouldn't have to put an indicator light on it, but it's kind of big. I wanted something a little smaller. So then I was thinking about this one, and I might use this one, I don't know. And then I have one here that's about the same size. So it'll be one of these that I'll use. So I need to make a square plate. It'll be a square plate that gets mounted on here. I'll mill a window in the side of the box over here. Just mill a window, and then mount a plate in there. And then the plate will have a square hole for the switch and the indicator light. Now I'm kind of debating on which indicator light to use also. Let's see if I can get a couple jumpers here and hook it up. So we have the red one. I'm not sure which way I got it hooked up here. Naturally, I'd have it just opposite. Right. All right, why do I have difficulties every time I turn the camera on? There we go. And the long leg over here. All right, so I can put the red one in there, you know, or I can put this one in there, but it's kind of a bright white bulb. Or I could go all out and put a plasma bulb in there. And what a plasma bulb is, it changes colors. And it doesn't hardly draw any current. But I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it's red. And it turns green. Oops. Can't have them touching each other. Turns green. And it turns blue. And it turns red. And it just kind of phases all through the cycles through all the colors. And like I say, it doesn't really draw any more than a regular LED. It's just bigger. I don't know which one. I'd kind of like to have that, but I don't like it that big. So I'm kind of leaning toward the red. I don't know, what do you think? This would be unique. I don't know. I never seen them until I bought some. I seen them advertising and I bought some of them. they're dirt cheap. They come with the resistor already. And I use that same resistor for, like I say, for all my LEDs. So when I'm hooking up to a higher current, maybe a white. All right. Well, first I got to decide how big a plate that I'm going to put on there. To put that switch in. Put that switch in, charge port, and the light. So probably need to be let's see, about 1.5 inches. Doesn't really have to be. I could offset it, put the charge port and put the light up here. I'm thinking 1 inch by 1.5 inches. So I need to cut a plate and then cut a whole square hole in it, and put 4 mounting screws, cut the window. This is be the control panel for turning the motor on and off. Getting closer. I could see if it'll start without even doing that, but I'd kind of like to have that done. And then, plus I haven't figured out a way that I'm going to latch this down to keep it latched. I think I'm going to look for some little, I don't know what you call them. They're like a spring latch.